Sure does.
Perfect.
Should I go ahead and get started?
Yep, I'll go to the next slide.
All right. So, hey everyone, my name's Alejo and I'm joined here today with Marvin, and we help administer the Student Transit Pass program, which all of your schools are a part of, so thank you for joining. And today we're just gonna go over a quick training. To be honest, there is a lot of information we're gonna cover, but we don't expect you to, retain it all right now. We're here if questions pop up throughout the semester and throughout the school year. And just a brief roadmap for today. So first, we're gonna go over an overview of the program and how we got here. And then second, we are going to share site admin responsibilities, which is the position that you all are taking over or carrying on. And just going over what that looks like in the day-to-day. And then after that, we'll do an overview of FormStack, which is the website that we use to process applications. And then finally, we'll share next steps for the program. Next slide. All right, so like I said, just a brief program overview. So what is the Student Transit Pass program? So it provides free youth Clipper cards to eligible middle school and high school students throughout Alameda County. And they can be used from AC Transit, Union City Transit, or LAVTA. It really depends on the district. So if you're in the Livermore Valley, you can use it for LAVTA. And then if you're in Oakland or Hayward, you can use it for AC Transit. If you're a part of NHUSD, you can use AC Transit and Union City Transit. That should be in the site admin guide on which ones that the passes can be used for. And the passes also give students 50% off of all BART trips, which is another great benefit. And we have two models for the program. So first is free and universal, and this is for districts that have 75% or more of the students that are eligible for free and reduced price lunch. So this is Alameda County Office of Education, Emory, LVJ, and then OUSD. And then the second model is means-based. So this is on an individual, like case-to-case basis. We have a threshold for who is eligible for the program. And this is for AUSD, BUSD, all these USDs that are on the screen. And one thing I want to clarify is for this model, when students are applying to the program, we don't actually screen for income. We are on an honor system. We don't want to deny free transit to anyone. So this isn't something that we strictly enforce. But it's good to know that these are the models that we're using for the program. Next slide. So just a quick program history. The Student Transit Pass program started as a 3-year pilot back in 2016, and it was really successful. So since then, it's become a full-fledged program, and this started in 2019, and every year we've been expanding. I believe on the call we have some new schools that are joining the program, and for the 2022 and 2023 school year, there's about 132 schools participating across the district. Or across the county, and about 15 districts in the county also. Next slide. So how does the Student Transit Pass benefit students? So here we have a couple of quotes. One student talked about how they never took the bus before, and then once they got their transit pass, they really became more encouraged to take transit. And one of the things that we really appreciate as transportation planners is mobility as independence, being able to get to school, get to work, get to, extracurriculars, meet your friends, and do all these things, for free, and being able to hop on the bus really is a great thing for students. And then one student mentioned that having the pass lessened the burden of having to ask people for rides, and we've come across students who miss school because they're strapped for cash and can't make it to transit or can't get a ride. So this really benefits students across the board, whether they're traveling to work or to see friends or to school. Next slide. So we have a set of responsibilities that the site admins are to take care of. This is a brief overview. So first, you're responsible for marketing the program. This is something that's mostly happens in the beginning of the school year. I think for the new schools, it's going to be more important to just build awareness across the schools. Second, you're going to handle enrolling the students once they've submitted their applications. And then you will also be responsible for distributing the Clipper cards as they're sent to the schools from Clipper. And then you'll also be responsible for replacing Clipper cards and deactivating them. Next slide. So as I mentioned, marketing the Student Transit Pass is one of the big ways that we really get students excited about the program and enrolled. So these are examples of different flyers that we have. We have digital copies of them, as well as ones that you can download and print to have on hand for students. So they're all available on the Student Transit Pass website. Can you pull that up? Awesome. Yeah. Great. So this is the Student Transit Pass website, and in this top corner that says Site Admin Resources, if you click that, it has all of the links to download the graphics, and you can share them on your weekly newsletters, TeachChart, if that's an application that you use. They can also be shared on Twitter. And again, you can also print them out just to have on hand to share with students. And this is where all that lives on the website. Thank you. And next slide. So how do students apply? We're actually going to take you back to the website again. And on the Alameda County, so the link, we'll share the link that takes you directly to the site. But if you ever can't find it, you can just search Alameda County Student Transit Pass, and it should be the first one to pop up. So the first thing it'll take you to is the Students Apply Here. And this has a list of all the participating districts. And if you click OUSD, there's another drop down box that has all of the participating schools. So students are to click the school that they go to, Frick, and it'll populate the application. So this is what they're seeing on their end. They select the language and just fill out the information below. First, they start off with, do you attend this school, I believe, or yeah. So do you have an existing Clipper card? Because there's an option if students already have their own, we can just add the pass digitally, remotely to their existing card. Most of the students don't have them. We create new ones for them. But this is what the students are seeing. They're to put their date of birth, student name, where they live, home phone, and confirm that they actually attend the school. And I think that's, yep. And then, so one of the important pieces is getting a parent or guardian signature. So this is something that you can actually do directly on the screen. Thank you, Marvin. It's pretty straightforward. It doesn't have to be a perfect signature, but yeah, it's able to be done on a phone too. If the student's doing it on phone and in paper applications, they can sign it on the paper. But it's a pretty straightforward application.
And Leo, I'm going to just go through the application for Pleasanton as well, okay?
Yeah.
Because we have someone from Pleasanton, which gives me an example of a school district who is not everything's free. So it looks just like just like the Oakland OUSD one does. Go straight to the contact information. You select the school, very similar with the email address, student ID. Ask you if you have an existing Clipper card, and then the student signature is there.
Thank you. I have one question. If they're doing it on the phone, can they change the language, the parents?
Yes.
Yeah. If it's on a smartphone, they'll be able to interact with it just as well as they can with if they're on a laptop or a desktop computer.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if for some reason the students don't have access to either a smartphone or a traditional laptop or desktop, we have paper applications we can send you, and you'll just send those back to us and we'll forward them to AC Transit to process. So let us know if you need those.
And Leo, in the chat, we have a question from Alicia regarding marketing tools in other languages.
Great question. So I think currently we have Spanish, Chinese, and English. And we've in past years had, I believe, Dari and Pashto. So that is, if you need a different language like Dari or Pashto, I believe we can go ahead and create the flyers and things in those languages.
And that's like one of the best things about the application. It's available in dozens of languages through the application.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's like 150 on the digital application. That's really wild. That's great.
And yes, it is open to apply.
Yes. So students are free to go ahead and start applying. Yeah, so feel free to announce that.
I have a quick question. So this application, the student could do it. It doesn't have to be done by the parent.
So we need the student or the parent signature. Yeah. But everything can be filled out and, you know, they can just hand it to the parent to sign. But if there are issues around, I was a student once and sometimes it can be hard to track down a parent when they're working. So if there are issues like that, feel free to reach out. We can figure out how to work around it. And then, so another responsibility is enrolling students. So once the student submits the application, it's a site admin job to verify the application and approve it. So the three things that we're looking to verify are just ensuring that the student is actually enrolled in your school. Sometimes the students will submit to the wrong school. And then also verifying the student ID and the date of birth. So these are the three things you're looking for weekly. And then if all those are check, then you just approve the applications. And then the next step is AC Transit handles the rest. And then students actually don't need to submit this application every year. If they transferred in as a sophomore and got it, and next year they're a junior, they don't need to. It just carries over. The only time this would happen is if for some reason their card got deactivated. And the only reason we do this is if students turn 18, but we recognize that some students are 18 and still going to school. So it's a quick process to reactivate it. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm hitting all the points. Okay, so once AC Transit gets those applications, they create the Clipper cards and they send them back. So they'll send them back to you and it's your job to distribute them as you see fit. And we just ask that you store them in a locked location while you're waiting for students to pick them up, because sometimes they can become demagnetized, or they're also pretty valuable. Free transit's a great thing. And again, if a student already has a Clipper card, we're more than happy to just remotely add the student transit pass to their existing card. And then once students get the card, we strongly recommend that they go online or call in to clipper.com to set up an online account. And they can use the Clipper card without doing it. But if they register, it just makes the process a lot smoother. If they lose it or something, they can just go online and request a replacement a lot smoother. Next slide. And to replace the Clipper card, we recommend that students call Clipper directly if they have them lost. And if they're having issues contacting Clipper customer service, sometimes in the beginning of the year or when everyone's back on transit, Clipper has an uptick in the amount of calls that they're getting. But if for some reason you're having trouble getting through, just reach out to us. We can contact AC Transit directly. And when the students do get the replacement, the cards will be mailed directly to the student's address. So just one note. And next slide. And deactivating, so this is something that's also responsibility of site admins. So if a student is transferring out of the district or transferring to a school that isn't participating in the program, we just ask that you let us know and let us know what school that they're transferring to, because if they're in another school that also participates in our program, it's just a matter of transferring their information. But if they're transferring out of a district or somewhere that doesn't participate in the program, we deactivate them. So we just ask that you keep note of these as they happen. Next slide. All right, so one of the resources that we're going to be sharing with you, I believe we've already sent it out in an email, but if it gets lost, let us know, we can send it again. It's the site admin guide. So this is a really great resource. It tells you who your school liaison is. We have a different person that's a point of contact per district. And this tells you how to get a hold of them. It gives you your login information for FormStack, which again is a site that you use to log in and approve the applications. It's got your credentials and as well as a list of like frequently asked questions that you'll get from the students or some that you might have. This is just a really great resource that we put together that has a lot of info. And if for some reason it's not covered there or you need a reminder, feel free to reach out. Next slide. And we also follow a personally identifiable information protocol. And what this means is for us to continue to implement this program, we need to be sure that we're not sharing student information with people who are outside of the school. So we ask that you don't share the student name, student ID, and date of birth with us via email, and don't send applications via email. We just want to minimize the amount of eyes that are on students' information. So if you need to check in on a student's Clipper card and you want to drop the name, like it's easier to just call us. So there isn't, just a way for other people to find that info. Next slide. That's you.
Oh, it's me.
I think
so. No problem. So thanks, Leo. I think it's a pretty big job being a school liaison for this program, but I want everyone to understand that, this is you're not alone, and that everyone on this list between us, Alameda CTC, AC Transit, your district representatives are here to make sure that you are successful and your students are able to access this valuable program. So who are your school liaisons? So for OUSD, you have myself and Nicole Larson. We also have Sine, who is responsible for her group, because I don't remember all of what the USD is and the D in front of me, but that is for Pleasanton. Sine is going to be your school liaison. Aleo is doing Berkeley, Emory, Fremont, Hayward, and New Haven.
Yeah.
And also Michael is also on our call, is handling his own group of schools. So they should, if you don't know them already, you will know them very soon. This is the list of who's responsible. If you don't know which group, who your school liaison is, make sure we're going to be reaching out to you very soon if we have not already. So this is the time. Any questions so far on what we've covered?
Yes, I do have a question. So if we collect, because majority of our parents are mom speakers, so they're barely, understand Spanish. So when I need, we want to help them to fill it up. That if they cannot fill it up, can you fill it up on paper? You say yes, right? And then where can we send that? Or how can I get all those forms?
That's a great question. So in the case of paper applications, we have that you fax them over to AC Transit directly for security purposes, and then they'll be processed from there. And Jamie, you put something in the chat.
Yeah, so we similar situation. Many of our families are mom speaking, and so they're getting some assistance in filling things out on paper, and paper works better for that population. And so it's obviously a part of our back to school registration and registration for throughout the year, because newcomers come at all times. And then I request of AC Transit a secure file link, and then I scan them and upload them.
And how many applications are you putting through on that? Just to remind me.
I mean, any new ones, so like at the beginning of the year, there might be, all of the ones from registration, so it could be a couple of hundred, it just depends. And I try the first 3 to 4 weeks of school to do it kind of multiple times a week, just so that it's not overwhelming for them. And then I just kind of go to it every Friday situation and just send them over to them if I have new ones. And some weeks, once we get past a certain point in the year, I'll have none because we don't have any new enrolling students. But I try to get them in. Oakland was like the first Alameda County district to start schools, and I want to get our stuff at the top of the pile if at all possible.
Thank you.
But the post-registration is the biggest batch for sure.
I have a question. So what is the time frame for approval?
So
No, go ahead.
yeah. So normally we say about like 3 to 4 weeks, but given that it's the beginning of the semester, there's going to be a huge influx in applications because everyone's starting and we have all these new schools. So it is going to be a little bit slower. It can be up to 6 weeks. We haven't really checked our backlog really, but it also depends on when the applications are being approved. So if they're being approved weekly by the site admin, then they'll go a lot smoother. But say it's been about 3 weeks since an application was placed before it gets approved, that slows down the process a little bit. But we're shooting for 3 to 4 weeks.
Got you. So, yeah, we started school yesterday.
Okay,
So,
got it.
yeah, and last year we had a long time, sometimes like 6-7 weeks until the applications were approved.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of an anxiety for our kids, that going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to know. 3 to 4 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Then up to 6 weeks.
Yeah. And we also, so as the program goes on throughout the semester, we send weekly or bi-weekly reminders. So if it does slip your mind, we definitely remind you. We just want to make sure, we're pushing them out as quick as possible for the kids.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to move into yes.
I have one question, sorry. Maybe I missed this. What if the student loses their Clipper card?
So if a student loses their Clipper card, this is really important. We always recommend that they set up an account on clippercard.com in case this happens. If they lose their Clipper card, they can request one through clippercard.com if they already have an account, or they can call ClipperCard directly and have that process too that way. And then the card will be sent to the address that they have on file, or an address that they can get the card. I do believe they allow you to send it to whatever address is most convenient for you.
Okay, and then one more question, sorry, maybe I missed this, but once the students start submitting their application, where's the way that we could see from the school site where we could see who submitted their application, or like where the process is in their application?
Yeah, that's a great transition. Let me move on to introduce you to FormStack, which is what we use to process applications.
Yeah, thanks for the setup.
Yeah, that was great. That was perfectly timed. So FormStack is the platform we use to process our applications. I'm going to give a quick run through of it. This process is similar for all school districts. So pretty easy. Start off at formstack.com. And by the way, if I go too fast, understand everything's in your site admin guide. All of these steps are already there. Once you get there, want to log in to Forms. And I'm going to start off with OUSD, which I usually have it auto-saved because it's just easier not to have to remember anything more than I absolutely have to. Now, one important thing to remember with this is that each school district has their own form stack. So this is OUSD. Okay, so there's an email address that's specific to your school district. It is not your school email address. So it's not Jamie's email address. It's an email address that works for FormStack just for this program. And we will send that to you in the site admin guide, and a password that works for all OUSD schools. And then let's select Fremont High. No. So go to forms. And I'm checking, and you can search for your school up here. And then when you get to, I found my school, it's OUSD test form. It's a great name for a school. Click on the test form. And it's going to ask you for an encryption password. Now, this is school specific. Your site admin should have sent you this information. If not, please reach out to us so we can help get you insecure. But this is important. This is different from the district one. So this is your school specific password.
Is it the same as last year?
For existing schools, it's the same as last year. Then this allows you to access the submissions at your school. And don't update the password because it'll really get confusing. So from this list, it gives you a list of the students who have already submitted their applications. As Aleo mentioned earlier, you want to verify their student ID number. First of all, make sure they actually do go to your school. Make sure that their student ID number is correct, that their name and their birth date is correct, based on what you have on file. In some cases, you may recognize that a student mistyped their student ID number, and from there you are actually allowed to click on this, go into the application. You see the signatures there. Now let's say that they're not in grade 12, they're in grade 11. You can go up to edit, and you can change that grade to grade 11, and then click save. Then once you've verified all the information, then you can go ahead and approve the application. I'm going to ping Michael in case I forgot to say something. If there's anything I forgot?
No, I think you covered everything. Yeah. So if we approve it, you'll see on the left that it's pushed forward to AC Transit. For some reason, if the student doesn't come to your school or doesn't go to your school, or if they submitted the wrong application, if you press deny, you'll submit a reason and the student will get a notification that their application is denied. Yeah, I think that's everything. Thanks, Marvin.
You're welcome. Thank you. And since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and like this application is blank, so I'm going to go ahead and deny it. Just so you know what it looks like when you deny, it's going to ask you why you're denying the submission. It's helpful to our team to know why you denied it. If you just put if you put in there just a note saying telling us that it's blank, it makes it a lot easier for us to know why that is. All right, and I have 1, 2, 3 questions. So Viviana, did you still have a question on this part?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
So Nina?
Okay, my question is, I found that a lot of students were putting parents were putting applications in twice.
Mhm.
And so then I would deny it, and then, I didn't know, should I deny the second one or leave them both on, or what should I do?
Yeah, I would say you would deny the second application if it's a duplicate.
Okay.
And Hulda?
I will. Oh, sorry, Marvin. Before we move on to the next question, I will say though, I would look at both records before denying the second one, because maybe the first time they didn't submit their student ID, or if they had a typo. So I would just look at it to see which one's the more complete application and delete the one that isn't. But if that's not the case, then I would delete the second one.
Yeah, thanks, Michael.
So can I do the question?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is my first time that I'm gonna do that. I don't have any login, I don't have any password. I don't know how to start. When can they apply and all those stuff? Thank you.
Yeah, so the question is, they can apply right now.
Okay,
If you don't have your login information, you need to let's get you in touch with your site admin, and possible that could actually be me. So we need to talk about how to get you set up, how to get you started and get you set up with the program. But that's I'll be reaching out to you.
okay, great, thank you.
Okay. And Terry, in the comment list, it's not recognize your email. Terry, what email are you putting in there? Okay. Terry, let's talk offline. Any more questions about FormStack? And I got a hand raised from Nina.
Is the login the same as last year?
Yes.
Okay.
And one more thing, this is really important. When you get to the first FormStack screen, when you first log into it, never select forgot password, because it resets the password for the entire district. Just a little feedback there. All right, so moving on to next steps. So as we've been hinting at right now, we are in the school year launch phase of the program. This is our busiest part of the year. A lot of new schools, a lot of new people, new faces, and a lot of new students. So after this, applications are processed on an ongoing basis. And we deliver to school. We try to get everything delivered to the school before the end of the fall semester. Then after that launch, it kind of slows down a bit. The link to that online application stays active all the way to the end of the school year. We do shut down. We do not process applications during winter break, just due because we know that no one's at the schools to actually receive the cards. So that's the last 2 weeks of December through the first week of January. We close out the applications, and this date varies depending on school district, 3 weeks before the last day of school. This is so we can be assured that the students do get their cards before school actually is let out. And then school year closeout happens 2 weeks before the last day of school. So this is the last day site admins have an opportunity to verify applications. Again, this is to make sure that the cards have some place to go. So like we said earlier, you're not alone. We have our website. You have us as your school liaisons to help you with that. The site admin, our site administrator how-to guide is a very, very valuable tool for you. It's specific for each school district. We also have our STPP website, which provides links to all your online applications, and also marketing materials so you can promote the program. FormStack website is available through formstack.com. And we also have a YouTube video, which we will send you the link to once we send you your kickoff email. Any other questions that we can answer?